All right, everybody. Thanks for coming. Today is July 15th, 2016, and I am going to be going over today the process that I use to start off new coaches, because I know a lot of you are getting coaches and you're like, what do I do with these people? I'm going to fail them. I'm not going to start them off right and they're not going to be successful. It's going to be all my fault. And that is not true, you guys. So rest assured, I do use a process. But I started without a process, and this is just what I found has really worked well for me. And I have it documented. I loaded the document in the file section of the leadership page, as well as my Diamond Push page. So I would suggest, you can tweak the process and make it work for you. It's just, this is what has worked well for me. So the first thing you want to do as a leader is you want to have a relationship with your new coach. So you could have just met them, you could have just signed them up, but find out from them specifics, like what are they about? Do they have kids? What are their goals? What are their fears? What are their challenges? Who are they? It's not about you. So it's about them. So a lot of times as coaches, we spew information. We're like, this is such a great opportunity, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, whoa, what about me? People want to be relevant. So you need to make sure that you are addressing that need. Some of you are in management positions at your jobs. Most of you are parents. And it's always about the employee. It's always about the kid. It's the same thing with being a leader in this business. It is always about your coach. So you want to make sure that you find out about them. What do they need? It's just like with challengers, you ask them questions. You do the same thing with the coaches because they're scared. I think about how scared you were when you signed up. You're like, what did I just sign up for? What did I get myself into? How am I going to do this? I'm going to fail. What if I'm successful? And you need your coach address those needs for you. So you need to do that for yours. Now, with that being said, does that mean you spend all your time with doing that? No, it's just being efficient. Having those conversations, because you also want to be respectful of your time in there. So that's the first thing I start off with, is just make sure that you have somewhat of a relationship. And that's why it's important to recruit people that you want to work with. Because if you don't want to have a relationship with your downline coach, it's not going to be good for you. Trust me, I've done that. And it's not that they're a bad person or that I'm a bad person. It's just that I'm not the right coach for them. And we're just not a good fit. And that's okay. But that's why, you want to make sure it's someone you want to work with. And that's really an important thing. So you want, in the beginning with that relationship, you want to believe in them. You need to help build that belief in them. And so it's imperative when you're speaking with them, you find out what they're scared of, what they want to do, what their goals are, and let them know, hey, I believe in you. I know you can do this. You're going to be successful. And a lot of times what I will do is I'll relate another story to them. Now, you may be newer and you're like, I don't have any stories. I don't have coaches. Well, I didn't when I started either. And I would look at our team is huge. We also have access to Jesse's team. We've got lots of other coaches. Google it. If you've got somebody that is, a mom like myself of 3 kids and suffered from anxiety and, other issues, go Google that with Beachbody and you will find a dozen stories. If you've got a nurse or a doctor, we have all that on our team, but Google it and get a story that relates and we have another coach on our team that is is a mom of 3, and she was able to start this off and lose her weight and also build a successful business. I know you can do this too. So that's where you're building the belief. Tell them why you see their potential. Like, what do you see in them? You're like, if there's somebody that's positive on Facebook, like I had a girl, I was like, she's so positive. I want her on my team. I loved her posts. They actually have nothing to do with fitness. I just liked her vibe. And I was like, you're just such a positive person. And I really love seeing you every day. And I would just love to have you on my team because I think you would be an asset. And so I told her and she was like, really? I'm like, yeah, you're inspiring. And again, it was just from reading her posts. I didn't even really know her that well. I just saw her posting, I'm like, I want to get to know her. I would love to have her on my team. So tell them why you see their potential. Tell them how you could see them benefit from this opportunity. So that's why it's important to find out what their goals are. If they want to make money to go on vacations or pay for their children's sports, or maybe they want to be home with their kids, then, let them know how they could benefit from this opportunity. And just start building that belief and that vision right there in their head. Now, it's important that you meet them where they are. So if their goal is to just pay for groceries, like my goal when I started was to pay for my Shakeology and then my groceries. If somebody would have told me I could have built a 6-figure business, I was not in the point mentally where I would have accepted that from them. I would have been like, you're insane. This is a bunch of crap. Like, you can't do that with some online business, because I didn't have that vision for myself. But you can't just dump that on someone. So to be honest with you guys, a lot of times when I'm starting a new coach off, I don't focus on the fact that I've been making 6 figures and that I retired my husband and that, that we have that freedom. I go back to how I paid for my Shakeology and how I paid for my groceries. And it depends on the person. Some people come in and are like, I've been stalking you for 2 years. I know what you do. I want to do what you do. That's different. Or they come in with a big vision. But most of them come in with just the fact that, they're typical American families, which are, I believe the statistic is they're $200 a month away from bankruptcy. That's like that's what most people are struggling with, is $200 a month would make a huge impact in their family. It would save them from bankruptcy. It would help them not live paycheck to paycheck, and it would help them have breathing room. And think of what a gift that is. So find out what they're trying to do and build that vision, but you may have to back up and be like, remember where you started, see where they are in their thought process. So that's so important. And don't label them. Find out what they're doing. Like if they're like, I just want to be a discount coach, and you're like, that's cool. Let me know if you have any friends that want to join, or if you have any questions ever, and I'd be happy to help you. Because 90% of my coaches were discount coaches, and they weren't discount coaches for long. And if I would have just been like, oh, you're just a discount coach, then they wouldn't be where they are today. And most of them that, are doing really well. So don't label them and put them in a box. And same with the business builders. If they're like, I'm going to work this business, I'm going to make 6 figures. And then you're like, hey, where'd you go? You kind of have to see what they're doing. So that's why it's important. So I really believe like that step 0 that I have in my process is so important, because if you don't have that foundation, then it doesn't really matter where you go from there. It's mental. If you don't have that mental part, then the rest of it doesn't matter. So really work on step 0. Sounds like a lot. It really isn't. But it's just being, fact finding like you do with your challengers. So let's say you've got that person that's like, I am in, I want to build this business. All right, awesome. What you do, step 1, obviously you get them signed up. Then you send them the welcome email. Now I have a welcome email. You are welcome to use it, tweak it to be your own. And I will post that if you don't have it. I'm happy to do that. Basically, I tell them, I say, I'm going to send you this welcome email. It looks like a lot. It's not. Should take you about 15 minutes to do. It's got housekeeping items in there so you can get paid, and you get your back office set up. And then I also include your goal sheet in there, because I want to know how I can best help you. And so make sure you fill that out and get it back to me. And I give them a deadline. So I usually give them 2 days, because I feel like if you don't have it back to me within 2 or 3 days, then they're never going to get it back. And so I just tell them, make sure you get, let's say it's today, Friday, they signed up. I'm like, just make sure to get that. Can you get that to me by Sunday night or Monday morning? And that way I can review it and get you going on your plan. And they're like, yes. Now, here's the important thing. I do not schedule a GSR call with them, and GSR is getting started right, until I have that welcome email, because that is my first clue if I'm working with someone seriously. And those of you that know me, I am like very, very, very protective of my time. And I am that way because I wasted a lot of time in the beginning of my business working with people that weren't serious and you can't send me an email. We can't work together. I don't have any roadmap, to help you with if you don't tell me how to help you. If I don't know where you want to go, how am I supposed to write out the directions for you? So they don't get that back. Until they get that back to me, we're not getting on the phone. And I let them know, I'm like, just make sure to get that back to me. And they'll be like, oh, I want to meet up with you. Great. I need that. I need that welcome email back. And I won't do it until I get that back. That's how important it is to me. Once I get that, I'm like, awesome. And then I will set up a call with them. And that's the GSR call. And I make sure that GSR call is no more than 15 minutes. Why? It's because when you get someone on the phone and you spew information at them for 30 to 50 minutes, they don't remember anything you said except for they walk away with being overwhelmed, a little stressed out, and thinking, this is going to take a lot of my time. And it's not. So you need to be fair to them and to yourself and be like, all right, this call's only going to be about 15 minutes. I want to make sure I get you started off on the right foot. So with that, what I do is I get on the phone. I've got high energy. I talk about the agenda. I just say, hey, we're going to go over how to get started. And I want to be respectful of your time. This call is going to be about 10 to 15 minutes. And I usually am somewhere in the 12-minute range. I've got it down. Now, when I started, I would get people on the phone, and some of you poor souls on this call were victims of my hour-long word vomiting sessions, and I can't believe you stuck around. So thank you. But guys, I found that they just get really overwhelmed. And when you are recruiting a lot and then you're on the phone for hours on end, that's not a great use of your time or your coach's time. So let them know. You need to make sure that you've seen that form that they sent you back in that email and what they're all about. Like if they're wanting to pay for groceries, or they want to earn money for vacations, or they do want to quit their job. They're sick and tired of missing out on their kids' lives and they want to be home. So you want to know what they want, because on that call, you're going to start out building that vision. Like it is, you can say, Amy, it is so awesome to have you. Welcome to the team. I'm really excited to work with you. I see here that you are, you work 40 hours a week at your job, but you'd really like to go down to part-time. I totally understand that. How much, would you need to make in Beachbody in order to make that happen? Don't be afraid to ask, because if you don't know, how are you going to help them? They may make, $10,000 a month at their job. They may make $2,000. Well, if you don't know, then you're just kind of shooting in the dark. So I always ask, how much would it take to make that happen? And then I just start building the belief. I'm like, that is awesome. You can totally do that. We've got other girls on our team that have been able to do that. And it's been amazing. We'll get you started off on the right path. And I just, I briefly talk about that. It's just a couple minutes to get them excited and kind of fact find on that. Then what I do is I tell them, the first thing that you want to do, our first goal as a coach, is to hit Emerald and Success Club. You probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but that's okay. Don't worry. All it is helping 3 people a month. That's it. Just 3 people. And what you do is you want to sign 2 of them up as coaches, so they can be coaches that want to work the business like you, or people that just want to get a discount on our awesome products. And then the other one can be a coach or customer, and you sign them up like you did with a challenge pack, because that is the best deal. You save money, you get your Shakeology, you get your program, you get Beachbody on demand, you get all the tools you need, and the accountability group. So what I want you to do is make a list of 10 people that you think would either enjoy working this business, doing a challenge with you, or would like to get a discount on their products. Just make a list of the first 10 people that come to your head. And after this call, I want you to reach out to them and ask them to join you with this challenge group. And what I usually do for them is I put them in my challenge group with me for the first couple groups. So I say, our next challenge group starts on July 25th. And so ask them if they want to join you. And if you get stuck, just let me know. Now, I know you're like, oh my gosh, you just send them off blind, no invite process. Well, here's the deal. When you're talking to people you know and you're excited, that passion comes off. So a lot of times we kind of screw up new coaches because we're like, you need to do this invite process. So then they're sending their family members who they are in regular conversation with these, scripted invites. And you don't need to do that. They already have the rapport with these people. And, so usually I find what that does is that all the passion leaves and they start getting nervous. So I just have them go talk to people out of sheer excitement. Think about when you started and you were just talking about people, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so great. I lost, 10 pounds with the 21-day fix, or I stopped drinking. My thing is I stopped drinking so much soda. And I was telling people like, this Shakeology stuff is awesome. I'm, mama 3, I don't sleep at all. And I actually have energy and I'm not feeling my body on soda all day and coffee. I still was drinking it, but not as much, and I was telling people that, and that was a big deal for me. And that was exciting. And that's what I talk to people about. So I have them make a list of 10 people. And then I say, the reason that you want to help those 3 people a month is that's really the benchmark for our business. And what it'll do is it'll help ensure you're successful and also meet this goal of, making a step to leave your job. So I want to make sure that you are able, doing that. And a lot of coaches are able to do that very easily. It's just 3 people a month. That's only 1 person every 10 days. But I find when new coaches are starting off, they're usually able to hit Success Club and achieve Emerald in the first, 3 to 5 days. Set that expectation. Don't say it's going to take 30 days because then it'll take 30 days. Say usually people are able to do it right off the bat. And the other exciting thing about that is that you get free leads from Beachbody. And this is a really cool perk of this job. So basically what that means is all those people that order off the infomercials or order off the website and don't come in with a coach, they're able to request a coach and they're assigned to you. And that's cool because these are people that already want to do the program. And honestly, you guys, people get so excited about those free leads. And because I get excited about those free leads. And I let them know, I have leads that have been ordering from me from when I started 4.5 years ago. And just think of how that compounds over time. I've never missed a month of getting leads in the 4.5 years that I've been a coach. And that's a lot of extra customers that I didn't have to work for, and I've built a lot of amazing friendships from those leads. So I really do talk about the lead program because I think it's amazing. So, and I don't even bring up, at that point, I don't even bring up the Shakeology leads because that's just more information. What I do, my first goal is just to get these people to Emerald and Success Club. And once they help those 3 people, which they normally do right off the bat, I'm like, that's so awesome. Now, this is after the call. Just this is what a side note is that I tell them, if you help 2 more people, you'll get Shakeology leads. And then I'll go and explain Shakeology leads. So I stair step the process. Again, I keep things sweet, simple, and to the point because I want to make sure that they're not overwhelmed. So really what they're doing is I want them to help 3 people right off the bat. Then after that, I let them know, our behaviors as coaches are really simple. It's great. You want to be a product of the product. So doing your workout, I'll adjust whatever workout they're doing. So I'll be like, continue doing your 21-day fix, drinking your Shakeology. How's that going, by the way? And they're like, oh, it's going great. Or, haven't got some of them haven't even got their products yet. And they're so jazzed. They can't even believe it. They just want to get that product. So I just briefly touch on that. I let them know the other behavior is making sure you're sharing and inviting with other people. So make sure you have your list of 10, go talk to them. And then the third behavior is making sure that you are doing personal development. And I say it's important to feed your body right, but it's also important to feed your mind. So I like to start coaches off with this book called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. You can get it on Amazon. You can check it out from the library. You can get it on Audible. But it'll really help you set yourself up for success. And I'll send you a link to it. And they're like, oh, cool. And I'm like, you just have to do 10 minutes a day or 10 pages a day. Don't stress yourself out about it. I go, but I really find that it'll help fill your head with positive vibes. And everybody's like, oh, that's really cool. Some people have never done personal development. It's a game changer for them. I know it was for me. I let them know the next thing we're going to do is get you set up into the Coach Basics. It starts this day. Just schedule, 5 to 10 minutes to check in with the group each day. It's only a 21-day program. And all you have to do is, make sure you check in, click like, comment on the post so I know you're reading them. And then just message me or post in the group any questions that you have, because I want to make sure that you get started off on the right foot. You're not bothering me with questions. If you don't have questions, I wonder what you're doing, because everybody should have questions. And they're like, okay, well, I don't, I know you're busy. I'm like, no, but I have time for you. And so you want to make that clear, because you don't want them sitting there just thinking like, I don't, they don't know how to do something, and then they don't want to bother you. So let them know it's okay. Just message me. Now, my form of communication is a Facebook message, because my phone is often in do not disturb. Text messages are too hard to keep track of. There's really no way to organize them. It's just a hot mess. So for me, if text messages are your thing, then go for text messages. If email is your thing, go for email. Do what works best for you, because it has to work for you. Text messages do not I get like so many text messages a day. Like I've got like 20 in here right now that I need to go back through. And a lot of times something will get missed and I feel horrible. Facebook messages, I'm able to keep track of because I link it with Teamsy so that I can notate what's going on. It's just easier for me to manage. So whatever works for you, because I know there's other coaches on here that are great with text messages, then use that. If you're great with email, use it. Whatever works for you, make sure it works for you, but you let your coach know so that they know how to best contact you, because otherwise you don't want to miss their messages. So that's what I do in the call. I end high energy, let them know, say, don't forget, you got to make that list of 10 people, send it over to me, and let me know how it goes as you're talking to them. And then I'll check in with them like the next day and just say, hey, Amy, how did it go? Like, how are you doing? And they're like, oh my gosh, like my mom's excited, my sister's on board, or I haven't started, I'm so scared. And then you can address it at that point. But really, just in that call, you just want to make sure that you reiterate the fact that in that first call that everybody's nervous. We're not experts by any means. We're just people that are excited and want to help other people. So that's what I would recommend doing in the call. That's what works for me is high energy, state the agenda. And I have this all listed here. Know what their goals are, talk to them about Success Club and Emerald, and, go over what's next, the Coach Basics, and making that list of 10 people they need to talk to. And really work to get them to Emerald and Success Club in that first week. Really work with that, because if you get them there, then go into, oh my gosh, you're amazing. Let's get you. So if they hit Success Club and Emerald, then the next call you have with them is about Success Starters and Shakeology leads. Like if you get 2 more people, you're going to get those Shakeology leads and you earn commission off of those. And typically the people that order Shakeology once keep ordering because they get hooked like we did. So those are gold. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. They'll go find 2 people come hell or high water. Trust me on that. And I've had people that it's been 24 hours like left of the month, and they found like those people because they wanted those leads. The other thing is that Success Starters earning that free ticket to Summit. I don't address those until the next time I talk to them. Again, for me, I just think it's too much information. Do what you want to do, but for me, I feel like that's just dumping more information on them. And all I wanted to focus on is Success Club and getting to Emerald, because it's such an exciting thing for them. Again, it's just, getting that, and because then what happens is they get that recognition, which is our 4th vital behavior. They get recognized. Another thing is when you have those new coaches and they sold that first challenge pack or they signed that first coach, recognize them in the team page and say, hey, Amy just started as a new coach. She, just sold her first 21-day fix challenge pack. She's already out helping people. Isn't that awesome? And and put a picture up there, and they'll get so excited. Don't spend a ton of time on pictures. As you know, my pictures are pretty pathetic. It's just more about the recognition. Again, recognize them. If you're someone that's great with pictures, by all means, go all out. For me, you can tell when I do my own pictures, and you can tell when my assistant does them, or my son. So my son was like, somebody needs help on their PicMonkey skills. I'm like, yeah, somebody is your mom. so he's been trying to do some of my stuff for me. And then really, that's it for this, for getting them started off. I do have the rest of my process documented, but if you really focus on those things, getting them started off on the right foot, then, and just bringing that energy, that belief and confidence, that's really what it's about, is just believing in them and helping build that belief in themselves. So it's just like with your challengers, you start them off, they're scared, they don't know what to do. Same with coaches. They're scared. They don't think they know what they're going to do. They think they're going to fail. And you need to be there as their coach. Like, you are not going to fail. Another thing I want to make sure I talk about real quick before we go is that don't waste your time with people that don't respect your time. So if they say they want to be a coach and then they're not responding to your messages or your emails, then, just find out where they are. Be like, oh, I just want to make sure, are you still wanting to do the business? If not, it's totally fine. We can just, put you in one of my challenge groups. That's cool. Let them know that's okay. Because I'll have people that'll want to do it. They'll freak out and then they won't respond to my messages and they'll quit, but they won't even tell me. I actually just got one this morning and I had messaged her, she's like, I'm all in. And then she just got scared, and that's okay. It's just not the right time for her. And I have to be respectful of that. Did I do anything wrong? No. Because otherwise, it's just the life cycle. So don't beat yourself up if you have coaches that say they want to do it and then they don't quit and you're like, it's totally my fault, or what did I do wrong? If you're truly like following this process, you sent them the welcome email, you were excited, got them on the GSR call, set up the next steps, like really it's in their hands. If they have questions, they need to ask you. I mean, we're adults here, so we can't chase people. And that's the hard thing. You don't chase people. I always, I'll walk with them if they want to walk. I'll run with them if they want to run. If they want to sprint, I'll be right next to them. But I don't pull and I do not push, because that's not what I'm about. And, you have to make that decision for yourself. But I did in the beginning, and I'm like, I would want it so bad for people. And there's still people on our team that I'm like, oh my gosh, if they would just freaking do the work, they would be so successful. But I have to remember they're in their own journey, they're in their process, and all I can do is be there and, provide the tools and basically match their effort. I can't force them to do anything, even though I think they would be awesome. So that's another thing I just wanted to touch on real quick, because I find a lot of people spend a lot of time on that one or two coach that they got. They've got like this one coach and they're like, oh, they're going to be awesome. And then they're just like, why is Amy not responding to me? Why is she, constantly ignoring me? Why, it's all my fault. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I failed her. No, you didn't. It's just her process. And that's okay. Just respect that. But also don't be so hands-off that you're like, you don't check in with them. Make sure you still are checking in with them. And I do probably once a week check-ins. If they're really on fire and they're like roaring, I'll check in with them every other day. But to be honest with you, they're usually the ones stalking me. They're like messaging me. So I don't have to do anything. I usually wake up to tons of messages from them, and I love that because I know where they are. But if they don't, I will check in with them once a week, and I use Teamzy to make sure that I follow up with them. I also have a list of, coaches in my phone. It's in my note section that I'm working with, just to remind myself, like, okay, I need to see where, Leanna is or Gina is in their, today, and make sure I'm checking on them. And I do that. This just helps me keep track. So whatever works for you. So that's what I have. I'm going to look at the chat really quick before I open it up. Questions. Oh, when do you bring up signing a spouse or family member to hit Emerald? You can do that in the first call. You can say, a lot of people do sign up their spouse or their significant other. That's totally up to you. And then I will send them the video on that. I use third-party tools still. And could I tell them how to do it? Oh, heck yeah. But I find that third-party tools, they are gold. So we've got those, you know, you can let them know. I mean, if I sat there and told them that, yeah, I signed my spouse up right off the bat and he makes $3,500 a month now just in team cycle bonuses, some people's heads would spin. So that is something that, you know, they might be ready for, they might not, but I do let them know that's an option. Okay, and that was it. Okay, who has a question? You can unmute yourself or you can put in the chat and I'll unmute you. Either way. Does anybody have a question? Anybody? Let's see here.
Wait. You're on. Too much.
Here, let me unmute Heather's audio. There you go. Because I think you're on double. Okay. Did you
Yeah,
question?
We were curious, the GSR call, where do we find out the info for that? Is that in the Team 360 files?
Well, you what I suggest is doing your own GSR calls.
Oh, okay.
So I do host them from time to time.
Through Zoom call?
Yeah, I actually you can do a GSR on a Zoom or I just do them on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah, and that I find is better if you're able to. Now with brand new coaches, like if you just signed up and then you're like, oh, I signed up my friend too, then I will do a three-way. And I'll do three-ways with coaches like to do their GSR for them as, you know, leader. But I would do them. You guys are awesome. So just do them. And that will build the rapport with the coach too.
Okay, so you're just explaining in the GSR, just kind of how like the startup wizard and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
In the GSR, what I do is I follow the process. So I talk about, I've got their welcome email, so I know what they want. I know what their goals are. And I keep the call below 15 minutes. Right. And I just I do them I do them all the time. I do them in carpool line. They're so easy because they're under 15 minutes. I do them in my, my room with three of my doors locked so my kids can't get in. I mean, I've done GSR calls in my closet. Like, that's why I typically don't do Zoom because I've got like a hot mess going on behind me. But because I've got kids, I did one the other day with, I think I had like 6 or 8 kids in my house.
Oh my God.
I went upstairs and just bammed out a GSR call.
Perfect.
And, take some Energize before if you need some extra oomph. But really,
so it's like you being a cheerleader for them in the GSR call, right? Because you've seen their goals, so you're just basically their cheerleader at that point, right?
Yep. Building belief for the first few minutes.
That's our
that relationship is so important, that rapport. And then I just go into, Success Club and Emerald. You've seen 3 people, make a list of 10, and let's do this. And then that's it.
Okay, perfect. I was just asked by one of, she's, and I don't know how this works and I'll figure it out, but Mel is under my husband, but she wants to maybe start coaching just to pay for Shakeology. But she did ask if I'm serious, should I get a business license? And I said, gosh, I don't know. I will look into it for you. Is there something I should Google and look into, or?
That depends on where she lives.
She lives in Oregon City, right next to you.
No, she does not need one. No, she's good. A lot of people have these questions in the beginning and like taxes and everything and like business. Some people, those are like the analytical personalities do. And I just let them know, like, let's see how you do. Like, I mean, we're not going to stress out about taxes here. You haven't even made anything. And you won't have a problem until you make, over $600. So that is, we'll address it. Again, though, like business license typically are not needed, but Canada, places in some of the provinces in Canada do have different rules. But that's something that they actually should find out because they live there. So, yeah. Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Leanna just asked, before I forget, when do you recommend creating your own team page and how did you come up with the name? So, personally, I did it at One Star Diamond and I was actually at Summit. I was sitting at Summit in 2013 and I was like, just had this aha moment of, I'm going to do this. And I came up with my team name. It like, completely just hit me there. My husband also has a company. We firmly did 360, and I should probably post something about this because I firmly believe it's like a whole circle. You go all the way around and you've got change and come back to who you're supposed to be. So that was my name. But a lot of people stress about team names. Don't stress about team names. And you're talking to somebody whose name is Team 360, and a lot of people don't know why, and they still follow me. So don't stress about it. The other thing is I would talk to your sponsor about creating your own team page. The way that I did it is I had 5 people that were serious about coaching, and I was having trouble keeping track of them in our larger team page, and they all were on board. And I just talked to them and said, hey guys, I really want to create this team page. What do you think about it? Because I did not want to go create a team page and just be posting and have nobody interacting with me. Like, that's demotivating to me. It's demotivating to my coaches because I feed off relationship and energy and community. Like, I got into this for the community and the positivity. So if I knew that if I lost that, it would be bad for me. So I went and talked to those people and they're like, Tanya, I think it'd be awesome. Let's do this. I'm going to bring so-and-so with me. So we started our page with like 20 people. And they were all excited. And that's how I did it. But you have to do what works for you. If you're someone that's like, I'm ready to do my own team page, then go, by all means, go for it. I would talk to my sponsor about it just to make sure, because I think like I've kicked people out of the team page and been like, you need to do your own team page. Like, you're so awesome. Don't be scared. But then I've also had people that have fled the nest too early and they come back and they're like, I'm so lonely because nobody's posting. So it really depends on who you have. But don't be afraid to ask your people to go with you. Even if you're like, if you are newer and you've got like those core people that are exciting and inspiring, be like, okay, I need your help to do this. This is our team page. So I can tell you who I started my team page with because they're still my core people. Like, they still are coaches today because we started this page together. And all of them have broken off onto their own pages, but we rocked the 360 page for a while together, and it was inspiring. So it's totally up to you, Leanna. Like, do it when you feel ready, and you've got those people. I probably wouldn't do it until you've got that solid diamond in place, just because and you've got a couple serious builders. Otherwise, you're going to be like, it's just not as fun. We do this for, you got to have that fun element in here. And you got to be prepared to show up a lot because you're going to be answering a lot of questions. Like, that's the other thing with the 360 page. Look at all the questions that come through and imagine if I had to go through and answer all of those myself.
Right.
I'd be like there all day in front of my computer. So, any other questions from anybody? No? Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Was this helpful?
It was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys show up. I know it's early and I know it's Friday, but I'm so excited to see all your faces. And please don't be afraid to ask, like, if you've got somebody and you're doing starting off a new coach and you're like, I don't know if I'm doing this right, don't be afraid to ask me, or post in our leadership page. Like, it's totally like, you should have questions. Like, if you don't have, like I said, tell the new coaches, if you don't have questions, I don't know where you are. I don't know what you're doing. I love questions because that's how you learn and that's how you grow. So I'm excited to have you guys here, and have an awesome weekend. And don't forget, check into the Climbing the Ladder group if you're in there. Like, that group is going so good. So jump in there and answer the questions. All right.
Awesome.
Happy Friday, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.